Welcome to the Mesquamaket Beach Podcast, a podcast spotlighting the businesses, newsmakers, events, and memories of Rhode Island's historic Mesquamaket Beach.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very special bonus episode of the Mesquamaket Beach Podcast. I am once again your host and one of the producers of the show, Ben Barber. Today, we are going to have a very special rundown of Springfest with one of the men who make this all happen. I joke a lot that every single episode we seem to end up saying his name. He is one of the other producers of the show, Caswell Cooke. He's also the executive director of the Mesquamaket Business Association, and these festivals were sort of his brainchild, as we talked about in our very first episode of the Mesquamaket Beach Podcast, and he's the one that generally goes out and does all of the press for these events. So I wanted to have him on the show to give you guys a rundown of what's going on at Springfest in more detail than I am able to give. Unfortunately, he had back surgery about a week ago, so we decided to do this interview over the phone. But it's a great conversation, and he has so many details about everything that's happening during the entire 3-day festival. So without further ado, here is my conversation with the executive director of the MBA, Caswell Cooke. Okay, so I'm here with Caswell Cooke. Caswell, thank you for joining me.
Well, it's good to be back on the show. You've had a great several podcasts since I was on the first one, and I've enjoyed each one of them.
Do you enjoy when your name is dropped on every single episode?
Yeah, you're gonna get paid the $5 per name drop.
I did not mention your name once with Joey Molland.
And that's the one I would have rather had said my name,
I know.
Than Chris Walsh.
So
it's like talking to a Beatle when you're talking to Joey Molland. It's like the closest thing to a Beatle.
It really was. Dave came in to help me as I was setting up for the phone call, and he goes, "Have you like listened to an interview with him?" I was like, "Yeah." Caswell said he sounds like you're talking to a Beatle, and it really does.
It does.
He kind of sounds like Paul.
Yeah, and he kind of looked like him back in the day. It's Badfinger were I hate to say it, but they were like the next Beatles at that time, and they were on the Beatles record label, which you got all that out of Joey. But
yeah,
we're just happy to have him come back. I saw this particular show where he's performing the album straight up, and then does the other hits after the album. And this particular band that I had never seen back him before, and I saw them I think at the Greenwich Odeon this winter, and I was blown away. And I had been on the road with Joey before years ago, and we had him play in Mesquamaket I think in 2010. But this is the best band he's had backing him. I mean, they recreate the sound of Badfinger. I mean, obviously he's the last guy left, so he needs a band.
Yeah.
And they recreate what that sound is. So we're looking forward to Saturday night. And the cool thing is our Lieutenant Governor, Dan McKee, who loves Mesquamaket, is going to be here Saturday night, and him and his wife, Sue, and he will introduce Joey on stage.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad I have you on the show, because I don't have all of the information. The other thing that's important, I think, that we probably haven't talked about, because we talked a lot about the entertainment stuff, is the people who make it happen and the sponsors. And so I really want to give a shout out to the people who bring the entertainment down, who's going to bring us John Cafferty and Phil from the Rembrandts, and Wicked Petty, the tribute to Tom Petty. And it's Wesley Hospital, Coca-Cola, the Pleasant View, and the Washington Trust are huge. And I can't do this festival without Easy Waste, Chris Beck. And there's so many people to thank, and you leave so many people out. But, thanking people like Cisco and U.S. Foods for donating food, and thanking my board members like Rebecca Green from Cold Stone Creamery, who gives of her time, and Rebecca Colucci from the Andrea.
See, it's like you calling these people up at 5 o'clock on Friday saying, "Hey, can I borrow 1,000 of your wristbands? I forgot to get them." And everybody just really helps out. The people at the beach, and George Tattersall, and then Charles from the Windjammer, who's the president, who you've had on. He just like sends his guys to work for us all week. At his cost. So it's pretty cool. This is a rough Springfest for some of us because our normal crew, we've had some ailments, and so we've kind of got like a slightly new crew. We had our friend brother Lou Amici have a heart attack last year right before Fall Festival, and he worked through Fall Festival not knowing.
Oh man!
So he's doing all right, but he's awaiting a heart transplant, believe it or not. Whew. And then Gene St. Martin, who is our other road crew guy, had to have an operation, and he's still got a feeding port in him. And then last week, our other road crew guy, Ron, on Friday had a heart attack. He's doing fine. He had some stents put in, and he thinks he's working Springfest. He's not. And then to top it all off, last Tuesday, I had back surgery. So we're in great shape for this Springfest.
All right.
So we're relying on Charles and George and Tim from Two Little Fish and Bob Barber and Rebecca Colucci and Rebecca Green, and we have a good crew of people. And I've brought in some younger people. We have this great kid Noah and this great guy Lake Wild. That's a great name, Lake Wild.
That's a great name.
He should be on the radio. And so we've got a good crew. But some of the elder crew, I guess, of which I am now a part of, we're going to be walking a little slower at Springfest.
So I will be there on Saturday with a camera.
Good.
To catch some of the stuff going on during the day. Kids going on rides and all of the awesome food and vendors and all of that stuff. So we're looking forward to that, and we're gonna do that. So the first episode of the video cast version of the Misquamicut Beach show will be all about Springfest.
We love it. Well, Amanda Reese is our go-to person for the last 8 years for our festivals, and she's going to slowly transition out. She's not leaving us, but she's slowly transitioning out and training a new person, Catherine. So we actually have two Amandas this year, which is great. But she reported yesterday, so who knows when this is going to air, but she reported recently that we were up to just about 80 vendors, which is really good for us. I think we average anywhere, depending on the year, from 60 to as many as 90. So we're at 80, and usually in the last few days we get a couple of drop-ins. So we're going to have a lot of food. And some of the stuff's been posted on Facebook and Instagram. Actually, Catherine's been posting some of the food. There's this Baconator thing. There's all kinds of like stuff that's like a little different than in the past. And then there's some of the stuff that we have in the past, like Kenyon's, who has the clam chowder and fritters. And the other thing is, the most important thing is that weekend, a lot of our businesses are opening. I know the Andrea's grand opening is on Friday, May 11th, and Two Little Fish is open. Sam's Beach is open. So these places are like opening their doors as well. So there's businesses open, which is nice.
The Windjammer just opened last weekend.
Yeah. So it's like, places are going to be in gear. So it's we want to start this party 2 weeks early, start this summer off, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, the next week is like Jaws at the drive-in, and I just don't know where this time is going and how we're gonna how we're gonna catch up with all this. And we just had all the sidewalks swept last week by our friend Steve Daggett from Sandy's Lighthouse. Town came down and swept all the streets, so things are looking prettier, and RDS Landscaping is going to be planting and mulching our traffic islands, and we're sprucing up, and we're getting ready to open the tourist center. So all those things kind of happen And then we have this week of setup of Springfest that actually starts on the Sunday before. The rides start coming in the Sunday before. So all week long, we're setting up for Springfest, and hotel rooms. And I got to shout out to the Sea Spray and to the Pleasant View and to the Breezeway for housing these celebrities that come to town, for instance, and house our sound engineers. And we have great people like Power Posse who make sure that we have electricity and lights. And we have great people like KG Audio who make sure that when John Cafferty or Wicked Petty or anybody's on stage during that weekend, or the children's acts or any of that stuff, that we got great sound and great lights on stage. And so it's just this whole group of people. And then to cap it off, I mean, obviously the biggest draw is the Rockwell Amusements, who've been doing it for years and have every ride imaginable. And every year they switch it up. And they'll have the big Ferris wheel, I'm told, for this one. So you're going to really, as long as the weather's nice, you're going to see Block Island nice and clear. So, music, rides, food, Springfest.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
And well, there's one other thing I got to mention too. There's yet another thing. I start talking too long, Ben. You got to cut me off, but not before I tell you that the first act on stage is my good friend Roger Walsh, and he plays right at 5:00. And it's tough to be the first act on stage because right at 5:00, when the first gates open, people are just starting to come in. But as an incentive, as if riding the rides without a line at 5:00 on Friday when we open is not enough, the first 100 people in the door get an Ivory Ella T-shirt.
Oh, wow. All right.
So if you line up and you're one of the first 100 people, you're getting a free T-shirt just by coming to Springfest. And then you got to go over and say hi to Roger Walsh on stage while he's singing, so he doesn't feel lonely for the first hour.
Oh.
And then we got to mention that our friend Janine Marie, Nina J, her band Hit Play, which always is playing over at Foxwoods and stuff. They're opening for Cafferty on Friday night. So it's not just Cafferty. Like, don't just show up at 8:00 for the music. Like, the music starts when the gates open at 5.
That's awesome. And there's always something going on at all times,
Lots of stuff for kids too. A lot of kids entertainment. And I know you're going to talk about some of that stuff. And then the car shows, the classic car shows, and just, all the stuff and new stuff that we haven't had before. Stuff we have had, like the hula hoop dancing and Kiefer's martial arts. Things we haven't had, like Rapunzel and Flynn and Bella the Clown, Mr. Vinny the Bubble Guy, country line dancing. So it's not just, some classic rock guys. It's all that stuff, and it's appropriate for little kids. And, all the rides are different depending on your height. But there's some little rides too. My kids are 7 and 9, and they're right within the range of riding just about everything, except maybe that thing where you like sit in a cage and like
the zipper.
Go around. Yeah, the zipper. I don't think they're going in the zipper.
I mean, I don't want to go on any rides, but I've been afraid of the zipper my entire life.
Listen, I'm scared to go on the Ferris wheel. So, just here I put on this show with my team, and I'm afraid to go up in the Ferris wheel. Grandpa has to go up there with my kids.
I think that a big portion of the first episode of the video cast is going to be seeing if Allie, one of the hosts, can get her 3-year-old on the Ferris wheel. That's what we're gonna. He's never been on one. I think he's afraid of the concept, but
I would be too. But a lot of people love the rides and the games, and it's certainly a draw. So I invite people to come, and everybody should grab a coupon. Just go to Musquamaket.org, and you can grab a coupon and show it on your phone, and it's $1 off per person. So it's right online or on our Facebook page. Just grab the coupon, download it to your phone, text it to your friends, whatever you want to do, and then everybody's $1 off, and the parking is free. People always want to know that. There's the State Beach is actually open that weekend, and they're selling State Beach passes, but they're not charging to park because we have to pay them off so that they won't charge to park. So it's free parking even if you just came down to go to the beach. I don't want to give that away, but come to the festival and support the businesses at the beach, which is the reason why we do this.
Very cool. So thank you so much for your time. One thing that I'm going to do right now is hold you to something. The classic car show you talked about, I'm going to need you to introduce me to Cruisin' Bruce Palmer.
Yes, he is famous. He is probably the most well-known car guy in the Northeast. And I forget what radio station he's on in Worcester right off the top of my head. Although you might know.
I'm not sure, but I know that I grew up with him on B101, I think. So.
Oh yeah, well, he's out in Worcester, and he knows his stuff, and he is going to be there, and he comes usually once a year, and when he comes, it's usually one of the bigger car shows because people just know Cruisin' Bruce Palmer. If you're in the car world, people are in different worlds. Like last year we had that fire truck muster, and like some people are like, I don't know what that is, but if you're in that world, you're like, oh my God, this is like so cool, and Westerly has like the best one. The same thing with this car show stuff. It's like the people that we bring in, like the Doc and Cruisin' Bruce Palmer, they're well known in this industry. And so like more cars come when they know who's hosting. Like you just brought up Cruisin' Bruce because they want to meet him and they want to win a trophy. We have trophies, and we got to thank our friends at 102.3 The Wolf because they bring all these prizes. And we got to thank all our, people like Tasca who helped put on the car show, and Shoning Insurance, and Ginger's service station. So there's always people to thank. I always leave people out. But if you go to MusquamaKitFestival.org, there's a page that has all of our sponsors, and it's really important. When you see these guys out, when you see Chris Beck from Easy Waste, or you see, the folks from Ginger's, thank them because they're making these events, these car shows, these drive-ins, they're making this stuff possible. And I think it's really important to thank the sponsors. I always do. It's not just another ad. It's not just, there's, whatever. It's these guys are donating their time and donating their money, and they could just say, screw you. They don't. They take part in the community, and I think that's really part of what we're doing down here at the beach is with these festivals. I mean, 8 years in, we've built a community just around these festivals, and we've got a whole generation of kids that grew up on this festival now. If they started coming when they were 3 or 4, how 8 years later they're like 12 now. They're telling mom, drop me off. And then the last thing I'll say, and I keep saying that, but the last thing I'll say is everybody wants to know when the all-day ride bracelet is, and that's on Sunday, all day on Mother's Day special. So it's $25, and you get a wristband, and you ride all day for the wristband price.
That's great. Just moms, drop your kid off. And then go.
Well, no, we don't encourage that. I mean, but if you're 17, I think you can handle going on the Ferris wheel without your mom.
Yeah,
we don't. The NBA encourages adhering to all good standards of the Department of Environmental Management and the Westerly Police Department and the ordinances thereof of the town of Westerly. Amen.
All right. Well, had to get you in trouble somehow on this show.
That's true.
That's true. So I asked you for 5 minutes, and you've given me nearly 20.
It'll be a longer podcast. That's all.
It'll be great. This might be its own separate podcast.
It can be its own separate podcast. That's fine.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caswell. And
all right, you got it.
I'm excited to, to see everything down. I'm probably going to drive down at some point. Just I like seeing the skyline, as I've said before. I like seeing the Ferris wheel, just on that drive, the whole week leading up to it. So
my favorite part is seeing the orange fence go in on Monday morning.
Nice.
That to me, it's just cool. That orange fence that sort of just says okay, and then the town guys come down and drop off the barricades. That we, the white sawhorse barricades, and we set up the entryway, and then we bring down our trailers, and George Tattersall and his guys set up the water line, And it's just, for me, those things are cool. And, I got to thank Public Works. Last week, they came and swept the whole State Beach parking lot. So the state gets a nice swept parking lot too. So it's all swept and pretty and nice. And, those are the things I enjoy watching the setup. And I really do have to actually watch and not participate in the setup because I've been threatened with, my fiance has threatened to not marry me if I try to lift anything at this festival.
Yeah, you just
surgery.
had back surgery, man.
Yeah, well, I'm getting back at it, and it will be a little harder this time. But I'm back to driving, and I hopefully made a full recovery. So certainly, for those who have suffered from back pain, I do recommend getting it taken care of because I suffered in silence for 10 months, and it's good to be back. On my feet again, quite literally.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're doing well. And since this is probably going to be a full podcast by itself, let's run down the entertainment one last time. So
yeah.
Friday, we have John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Yeah, so, opening up is Roger Walsh at 5 o'clock, and the first 100 people get the Ivory Ella T-shirts. And then Nina J and her band Hit Play. So it's like all kinds of like greatest hits. And then John Cafferty will come on and he's going to do all the hits. I just saw him 3 weeks ago at Mohegan and he's rocking. As many people remember, he was supposed to play Fall Fest and he had a vocal injury. And his doctor said, if you sing for the next few months, you're not singing again. And Billy Gilman stepped in. Well, this time Cafferty's ready and he's doing really well. And so you're going to hear Dark Side. And people don't realize how many hits he had in the 80s. He had a Tough All Over, Tender Years, Living in the City, the CITY, and, the soundtrack from Eddie and the Cruisers, the soundtrack from Rocky III, the soundtrack from the Stallone movie Cobra. So there's a lot of stuff besides just On the Dark Side that John Cafferty does. Plus they rock. And the band is just really great. And then Saturday,
this is their anniversary, right? This is like
and you have to ask John if it's the 45th or I couldn't tell if he said. I think he said it's the 45th anniversary
to the day,
May 11th, to the day of their first gig. And their first gig was in Rhode Island. It was probably like at URI or somewhere but it was like in South County. So this is a big anniversary for them, 45 years. So we're looking forward to that. And then Saturday, we've got a band called the Whole Facade, or as former Vice President Dan Quayle would say, the Whole Facade. And that's my friend Artie Teft from Channel 10 News. He fronts the band, and this is like a kind of a punk band. And they actually do an England Dan and John Ford Coley song, punk style, and which is we'll be talking about some of the summer lineup, and John Ford Coley's coming this summer. But this is the final performance of that band, so be cool to catch them. And then there's a band that's played the circuit for a long time called the Reminiscence, which you can figure what they sing. And then our friend Joey Mullen comes on, and you're going to hear the whole album straight up. Which has Day After Day and Baby Blue. And then you're going to hear other hits like Come and Get It and No Matter What. And, of course, the song that no one knew Badfinger wrote, Without You, which was performed by Harry Nilsson in the 70s and Mariah Carey in the 90s. In fact, Joey once told me that when Mariah Carey did I Can't Live If Living Is Without You in the 90s, he got this big check in the mail and was able to put in a swimming pool in his house. So, and then he's going to be joined by his friend Phil from the Rembrandts, who's going to come out and do That's Just the Way It Is, Baby, which was a top 20 hit for the Rembrandts. And then the song that every single person in the whole wide world knows, I'll Be There For You, the theme song from Friends. And I think it'll be really cool to hear that coming off of the sounds of the stage of Musquamacut Beach, that we got a song that there's nobody that doesn't know that song. And then there's all kinds of stuff going on, whether it's fire jugglers, martial arts demonstrations, country line dancing, clowns, mimes, kids stuff, rides, food, crafts, and then car shows Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 3. And then Sunday, we have a tribute to Tom Petty, a band called Wicked Petty, and they're going to do everything. They're going to do Free Fallin', Won't Back Down, American Girl, Running Down a Dream, everything we can do to salute Tom Petty. Originally, on some of the posters people saw, we had John York of the Byrds. He proved unavailable because of touring conflicts. So we're really happy to have this Tom Petty tribute and other stuff on the main stage, and Rapunzel, and Flynn, and Bella the Clown, Mr. Vinny the Bubble Guy, and Miracle Fish. I don't know what a Miracle Fish is. Country line dancing, hula hooping. Justin Harris is going to be playing. Nina J is going to be playing. And that's, it's $8, but it's really only $7, because all you got to do is download the coupon onto your phone, show it on the phone. There's a coupon available, Musquamicut.org, and the parking's free. And kids under 4 are free, and the food and rides are separate costs, of course, from admission. And that's really kind of the way the whole thing's going. And we have a ton of media partners and all kinds of people that we thank. So it's just a great situation. There's a few reserved seats on Eventbrite for Badfinger still for Saturday night, but all the other shows are just general admission seat, just standing or sitting. So, and anyone can see the Badfinger show, but if you want a VIP seat, they are available on eventbrite.com. And everything's available on Musquamicut.org, which if you can't spell it, it's MISQUAMICUT.org. And we're looking forward to just a great week of promotion. Going to be heading up to see Frank Coletta to do his morning coffee break at Channel 10, and we're going to be on the road show on Monday, and we're going to be on the Wolf and WADK and WBLQ, and so we're going to be all over the place this week, and so is Phil and Joey and Cafferty, if we can find John Cafferty. That's our mission.
Hopefully we can find him. At least we'll find him by Friday.
That's true. That's true.
Right. And just a reminder that when you're on all of those shows, plug the podcast, man.
Right.
You don't have to do that, but
I think it's an important thing we had never done before, and it was your idea, and it works, and I love it, and people have been it's been very well received, and everybody's liked it. So we're looking forward to the video one, and it's just really great. It adds to our presence online and our presence we have on radio and television. So it's good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Literally, we've gone a full half hour.
Good. So we're going to have a couple of episodes this week.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you very much, Caswell. And we'll see you guys all Friday, May 11th, Saturday, May 12th, and Sunday, May 13th at the Musquamicut State Beach parking lot.
For more information on the events and businesses of Musquamicut Beach, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and at Musquamicut.org.